What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade coming to y'all with that hot topic analysis. Of course, it's the trade deadline time, the buyout time, and there's going to be some small updates on the hottest news. As y'all know, I try to go live to answer these things and talk about these things with y'all or without y'all. It depends on who shows up, obviously. Of course, it's going to be live on the Noses Playground on YouTube, exclusively on there forever. And we can get right into it. And y'all know what the hottest topics are. Y'all just get to hear my version of it. Let's talk about Anthony Davis. That's probably the biggest one. Wizards. Um, they're looking at it like this. We got Anthony Davis. He has a hand injury. He has a groin injury. Should we bring him back or should we try to tank? They got Trae Young. He banged up his knee with the Hawks. They know that he fits what they're trying to do. They believe in him. They like him, and they feel the same way about Anthony Davis. Um, we have to see what's going to go on with this because people are looking at it. Um, he might come back and play for the Wizards, and then some people say that he's out for the season. I don't know which one is true, which one is not, but I don't really think Anthony Davis is going to change things too much in the Wizards situation currently because they have so many losses, and he's not fully healthy. He was out for a couple more weeks before he even got traded. Obviously, he is one of the better bigs in the league still to this day. His problem has been staying on the basketball court. Other than that, he's still a 20 and 10 guy that can protect the realm. They make things extremely difficult. He can hit the jump shot. He can finish at the paint, get to the free throw line. He can communicate well and boost these guys up, hold them more accountable, make them better. And I still think the Wizards do have enough young pieces and a good enough bench to where if Trae Young plays the way he plays, Sarge continues to play the way he's been playing the last couple of weeks, and Anthony Davis comes and be healthy for a good stretch of time, they can still be a playoff caliber team next year if they do add another big piece, whether that's in free agency or in the draft. We don't really know what they're going to do. We don't know how they're going to do things just yet. Just like we didn't know they was going to get Trae Young or Anthony Davis, so they made the moves, and they didn't give up for much for Anthony Davis, and they didn't give up much for Trae Young. Plus, those are two all-star caliber players coming to the East, and that gives the Wizards a lot of good hope and a lot of good feelings. Obviously, I don't think Trae Young, Anthony Davis, and all these guys on this roster are a championship contender, but they're a lot better, and they're going to be a team that's going to be very interesting and intriguing to keep up with and want to watch because of all the guys that they have on the roster now. So a lot of people are going to want to see how this thing is going to work out, how it's going to go, and what they're going to do with this team that they're building. Because they went out for some aging stars and some guys that are trying to repair their name and their image in the league for the better. And I think that they can do that together. I just want to see how these young guys and these vets play together because they're not the oldest, Trae Young and Anthony Davis, but they also not the youngest, and they still have their agendas of trying to show that they're the best players at their position, and they're going to want to prove that again after these injuries that they suffered this year. And both Trae Young and Anthony Davis obviously are going to want to get paid too, so that's going to be something interesting to check and watch out for. Also, plus, like I said, they got so many young guys on that roster that they're going to want to get paid, but they haven't really been playing that great or that amazing to where you would think that they will be the ones getting a big deal, but they do play good enough to be a good supporting cast for the price that you might have to pay for Trae Young, Anthony Davis. The question then will be, can they be a real threat in the Eastern Conference? Can they compete with the Knicks, the Celtics, the Sixers, and I can go on and on. But it doesn't really matter too much until we see what they do in the draft and in free agency, because that can change the roster again, and we'll be looking at this team totally different compared to how we look at them now. And the other big move was Cam Thomas. He agreed to a contract with the Milwaukee Bucks, so he stays in the East. Um, he's a good player. Like I said, I don't really want to say too much negative about him because I feel like when he got drafted, we knew he was coming into the league to score. He can give you double figures. He can create a lot of attention on the basketball court by his ability to handle the ball, use his size, use his strength, use his shooting ability and his shot creation ability to be a very, very tough player to defend and a tough player to guard. Obviously, they got Kevin Porter Jr., they got Ryan Rollins and guys like that, but they just ended up losing guys like Cole Anthony and stuff like that too. So it's good for them to say we might have lost some other guards that was trying to help us offensively, but Cam Thomas is a better offensive player than those guys. And like I said, he's a guy that can also create a lot. And that's also really important. But I don't think the Bucks are going to be interested in signing them to a long-term deal. I just feel like they're saying this is the best free agent we can get. We do need more offensive pop, whether he's a starter or if he comes off the bench. And, we can figure everything else out in free agency with Giannis. He's the big guy that we're trying to figure out how to build around, how to keep him happy. And that's our job as an ownership and as an organization to put the best team that we can put around them as we can each and every season and see if that's enough to compete for a championship. And I do feel like Cam Thomas helps now because the Bucks have been winning games lately, but it is always good to add more talent that can come in and give you a push. And I feel like Cam Thomas sees the situation that they in. He sees what he can do. And I feel like he's going to be another guy that can come in and give them something that they need, which is more scoring. And I feel like that will help them beat some other teams, maybe even help them get back in that playing conversation when Giannis comes back too. Because, like I said, the more the merrier. You definitely want the best talent you can get. And Cam Thomas is probably the best free agent out there, especially for a guard. Um, and that was worth noting. Lakers did sign Kobe Bufkin to a two-way, well, basically a 2-year deal. He did average 24 points and 4 rebounds for the South Bay Lakers this season. Bumkin fills the Lakers' 15th roster spot. Obviously, he played in the NBA before. He's a solid guard, not the greatest guy, not the worst guy. He understands what's needed to be done. He understands his game. He's getting used to this, getting cut, getting away, make a roster. Get cut, get away, make a roster. It can drive you crazy. It can drive you insane. But at least he's been fighting through it and still being able to stay positive. And hopefully he stays on the Lakers roster because he is a quality guard and it is good to see him on the roster. Pistons did sign Dennis Jenkins to a 2-year deal. They ended up waiving Dario Saric, which sucks for him. But Jenkins is averaging 8 points and 3 assists this year for the Pistons. They need that size at the guard position. They need a guy that can get his own shot and play make a little bit when it's needed. He's been showing you that he fits and he understands what they need him to do out there. And he's been a good, solid player for them. And I like what he was able to do. The Clippers ended up converting Kobe Sanders to a standard NBA contract. He played good enough to get rewarded for that. And I feel like it's fair. It ain't the most job security, ain't the greatest contract ever, but it's a good way to continue to play basketball and a good way to stay in the league. And the more you show, the more you do, the more chances you are able to get on another roster or get a better contract in the future. And that's just the way you have to feel, and that's just the way you have to look at it. He is averaging 7 points and 2 rebounds on the year. The Clippers do need more scoring, more pop too, just like the Bucks did, especially losing James Harden and not knowing when Darius Garland and Benedict Mathurin is going to be healthy enough to help them out this season or in the future. But he is a solid guard for them, and they should be happy to have him. The Warriors also convert Pat Spencer from a 2-way deal to a standard contract, and they are expected to sign Lonzo Ball. And Ball is another guy that I wasn't surprised that got picked up real quick. Nothing surprised me that he's a solid defender. He can hit a three, he can run the offense, he can help on the boards. So he is a guy that can do multiple things. You want guys like that and guys that are team players, and he has definitely been that way his whole entire career. So I can see why they would want him. And then Pat Spencer has been a guy that has been a sleeper. He can knock down the three, he can run the offense. He's really good, sometimes even getting to the midi or to the paint, but he has to work a little hard for it sometimes. But, you just want the quality player sometimes, and that's all that really matters. We're trying to build the best roster you can going into the playoffs since the trade deadline is over. They're saying Shingun is to replace Shea Gilgeous Alexander for Team World in the All Star game for the people that care about stuff like that. And other than that, Blake Henson agrees to a two-way contract with the Jazz, a step in the right direction for him, just like the other guys that ended up getting it. And that's really the wrap up at that point. So all I can say now, looking at this list that I have to go through, comment, like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell to get that analysis when it first come out. Of course, y'all stay blessed up, y'all stay good. Peace. And I'll see y'all later today, hopefully with more analysis or tomorrow. Either or.